The parentified son is filled with anger from his childhood emotional neglect. It comes out in ways he doesn't always understand, in the way he snaps at his partner, in the shortness of his patience with his children, in the deep resentment that bubbles just beneath the surface. His family walks on eggshells around him, careful not to set him off, careful not to become the next recipient of his misplaced rage. And he hates it. He hates how he reacts, how easily he loses his temper. He swore he would never become this version of himself, but no one ever taught him how to regulate his emotions. No one ever showed him what to do with his pain. So it sits inside of him, waiting for any excuse to spill over. The parentified son never had a parent attuned to his emotions. He rarely knows what he feels or why. Emotions weren't nurtured in his home. They were burdens, things to be swallowed down, things to be hidden so they wouldn't make things worse. He learned early on that his feelings were less important than maintaining the fragile stability of the household. He became good at pushing things down. He became good at pretending everything was fine. And now, as an adult, when someone shares their emotions with him, he gets defensive. Not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't even know what to do with them. He has spent so long ignoring his own emotions, the emotions of others feel overwhelming, intrusive, almost like an attack. The parentified son was the little man of the house when he was just a child. He was never allowed to be a kid. He felt the weight of his mother's stress in the way she sighed after long days, in the worry behind her eyes, in the quiet tension that filled the house. He learned to carry her burdens without complaint. He stopped showing any fear or sadness because she looked to him to be strong, to be her support, to be the thing that kept her from falling apart. He still feels like he's responsible for her life choices, still believes that if he had just done more, been better, been stronger, then maybe things would have turned out differently. The parentified son wants to connect and be vulnerable, but he's been in survival mode for so long that all he knows how to do is push people away. He wants love. He wants intimacy. But love feels like a demand. One more thing he has to manage. One more responsibility on top of 1,000 others. So he isolates himself. He disappears into work, into distractions, into anything that keeps people at arm's length. Not because he wants to be alone, but because a part of him is still that little boy, still trying to survive the only way he knows how. The parentified son believes he can only be valued by working and providing. He is a workaholic, not because he loves the grind, but because stillness feels dangerous. Stillness means sitting with everything he has spent his entire life running from. Stillness means feeling the weight of all the years he wasn't allowed to be a child. He is burnt out. He is exhausted. He knows he needs a break. But the moment he slows down, guilt creeps in. A voice in his head tells him he is lazy, that he is failing, that he is only as good as what he produces. And so he keeps going, keeps pushing, even as he slowly breaks under the weight of his own expectations. The parentified son believes his role is to take care of every member of his family. No one ever showed him that boundaries are healthy. No one ever told him that he is not responsible for everyone's happiness. He was raised to believe that love is sacrifice, that to be loved, he must be useful, that his worth is determined by how much he gives. Even now, as an adult, he feels guilty when he prioritizes himself. He doesn't know how to say no without feeling like he is letting someone down. He doesn't know how to put himself first without feeling selfish. But the parentified son is more than what he provides. He is more than the role he was forced into. He is allowed to rest. He is allowed to feel. He is allowed to set boundaries. He is allowed to be loved for who he is, not for what he does. Healing for the parentified son doesn't come from fixing others. It comes from finally tending to himself. It comes from recognizing that he was never meant to carry the weight of the world alone. That he is not a machine. That he is not an endless source of strength. That he, too, deserves care. Healing means unlearning the belief that love must be earned. It means understanding that his worth isn't tied to how much he can endure. It means recognizing that the little boy inside of him, the one who had to grow up too fast, the one who never got to just be a child, deserves to be seen, to be nurtured, to be held. It means forgiving himself for the mistakes, for the outbursts, for the years he spent trying to be everything for everyone and nothing for himself. Healing means knowing that he is not broken. He is not beyond repair. He is simply human. A human who was asked to be a pillar before he even had the chance to be a child. A human who is now learning, step by step, that he doesn't have to hold everything together alone. That he doesn't have to be the parent to everyone anymore. That he too deserves to be cared for. Thank you for watching. If this spoke to you, consider subscribing. Until next time.